June 2018. June 2nd, 2018. Teaching an android to predict its future movements based on its surroundings and its current goal while working towards successful completed actions. We want the unit to have a string of increasingly positive/positive experiences so that it can complete tasks given to it. If it has a positive/negative action, it needs to change some state and try again. June 5th, 2018. The free will variable. The yet to undefined variable in a set of markers that increase the probability of the next action taking place. There will be variables that we don't know that influence the unit's next action, though if we know enough of the other variables, we can compute within a certain level of certainty that it will take place. Let's pretend that humans have free will included in our data set. Neutral actions. There are no inherent neutral actions. With enough information, the action eventually has a negative or positive effect on the problem set's outcome. What appears neutral is an act with little information. For example, you're taking a test and futzing with the pencil beforehand. You place it down on the table. It is either moved to a better position or a worse position relative to your hand and the paper relative to the time it takes to begin answering the first question. Perhaps there is a neutral zone the pencil can be placed, you asked. There is the optimal area and the widening rings of worsening areas to place the breaking game board, in brackets the table, into concentric circles similar to a dartboard. There is no neutral area. There is just the least worst area it can be placed along the optimal approach. This is useful for initializing trajectories and movement for the unit in an ever-changing game field by identifying and honing in on the optimal areas of travel or information gathering. Free will is a shrinking function. The more we know, the smaller it is. Less outside factors contributing to the probability of the next action as they move into the known markers of some subtype. It'll be there until it reaches a known zero amount, and then we'll know free will is just a lack of data. Likely we'll find out there is a cutoff where the lack of data isn't meaningful, the zeroing point of the function. You would make the function negative and so increasingly positive towards zero, the less terms are added into the set. Free will is what you don't know acting on the decision-making process. One of three things: a thought process, a previous action, or an environmental action that causes a seemingly probable action to not happen. It's all stuff that can be measured with an AI, but it throws an amount of bias against an action being successful, quotations, I think, and has to be included in the equation for probability of an action. June 9th, 2018. Had a dream where I spoke to God, quotation female. We talked about past sins and she ran me through the games. Took ages to get right because I felt frustrated I had gotten. Then it clicked and I relaxed and the game's finished. Then I ran in a race with other people, ending up back in KR and finished the first time. The second time I ran it, I broke another player's device and had to forfeit the run. The whole time she was responding to questions. Mentioned D, called her a fat B. June 9th, 2018. The death variable. The first part of the equation is 1 minus bracket 0, 1 end bracket, where 0 is being alive and 1 is being dead. I'm not sure why an AI would need this built into the equation other than to manually shut itself off to cease thinking similar to brain death. But it is useful when used with living creatures. Though zeroing the function may not be the best thing to do, it does end the chain when no new actions are possible. We also use the same function in regards to neg/nev actions to kill the run once it's determined that it's not successful. Each unsuccessful step could bring the total value to 1, and as it hits 1, it could activate the function and kill those actions as not useful. June 16th, 2018. A cube, each point within an action. One axis, positive/positive actions, another, the negative/negative actions, the z-axis. Running pos/pos and neg/neg actions, sets starting at the same time. On successful action, move into the center of new cube of actions and restart. Neg/neg action vector will continue the chain of pos/pos vectors. On each n/n action given option to move between 4 states, do nothing, bracket, still increasing negative value, end bracket, culled chain, comma, continue on to next neg/neg action, comma, reassess at neg/pos action. June 26, 2018. Applying tesseracts to each point of motion within the build and chaining them together to have fluid motion would be beneficial. I was also thinking of the tesseract as a way to compress points of information into smaller chunks by uniformly compressing each point connected to the first cube while chaining outward through all subsequent points that touch those inner points. June 27th, 2018. Nadios has a tumor on her shin bone. We find out tomorrow, hopefully, whether it's cancerous or not. She's scared, can't eat, having trouble sleeping properly, and says she's tired all the time. At least we found it. Hopefully it's benign. There's a 1% chance it's cancerous. She's been making jokes about how her and our dog, who developed a tumor on her hindquarter named A, are tumor twins. It's the first thing she did after the initial crying when she got home after our hug. Best thing I can do is keep her laughing to keep her mind off of it all. This is going to be hard. June 28th, 2018. Tesseract compression. Outer layer n minus x squared plus b colon. The largest file size may not be uniform in size, though we can do our best to make them cubes of information. Even if odd numbers of files, we can make an outer layer with one or two more pieces. It's just compressed to the uniform size of the layer beneath it. The next layer, square root of n, colon. The goal is to compress n to its root in size. The new layer is then compressed to n root n. Innermost layer, n root n, colon, n root n is the innermost layer with the smallest file sizes, and compressed one final time to root n for the final file size. Break the cube into one layer cubes. The limiting factor of the size of the compression layer is how many pieces make up the largest flat cube layer on the outermost layer and the compressible size. The smaller we can make it with traditional methods, the smaller overall the entire compression becomes. N cubed minus m cubed, where m is the remaining length of the data structure inside cubed length n, and so forth until we get to the single compression value needed by the next tesseract layer, and each value of those 8 points are brought into the lower level where the compression is uniformly done one layer at a time, all the way down until we get to a single file of n root of n. You leave 1 point in each inner layer of cube open to receive the outer layer's cube's compression data broken into 3 pieces of equally sized cubes so that they too can be compressed into the lower layer. Within the husks until fully compressed at the center and brought down within the tesseract hierarchy. M length equals n minus x, where n minus x is the smallest size the layer can be compressed to. You assign a value from a center point and then pull them towards that center compression value by defining their value by the basic compression tools. I have a feeling different compression algorithms will need to be used by each point depending on their file type and data style, but all they need to do is compress each piece into the same size respectively to one another so that they can be compressed uniformly. At first it'll be a little wonky when the file size is very slightly, but by using an algorithm to compress it again into an average needed size to get to the next layer uniformly shouldn't be too hard to figure out with known methods. It just depends on the file size discrepancies. You'd have a set of rules that if compressions of X files caption the minimum or ideal size n caption, it doesn't need to be compressed, where if it's any other value of x, if it's any value x plus y, it would be compressed with the rule to get it to x size. A limiting function, I think. The size of each piece of information is caption n minus m, n caption divided by s, where s is the size of each piece. M is the number of pieces making up the length of the cube layer. To bring the final sizes of the other tesseract's layer to the right sizes needed for the next innermost layer, we need to split each of these into 3 parts for each corner faces trisurface we need to break them into. So the total is 3x squared file size, so that the limiting factor is x squared has to be m2 of the inner layer. M2 is the size of the files broken up into the square of the file sizes for that inner layer. So I just signed up for Anchor's funding platform for the podcasters. It seems like a better deal than Patreon at the moment. So I would ask that you click the button that says donate and maybe donate $1 or $5 or $10 a month to us so that we can keep going. And I can produce almost daily or daily podcasts or more in the way that I've been going. And I'll produce book after book after book after book, and then I'll read through them. And I'll keep doing that until I can't see an end to it. It's so much fun. It really is. So please go to anchor.fm/divergentmind and click the donate button, and that'll help me out a whole bunch. Thank you so much, Jay. Okay, well, I'm taking a break, so I might as well do some ads. This is my first one, so bear with me. So, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. That's pretty cool. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And all you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Please visit anchor.fm/divergentmind to leave a message so that I may get back to you. Thank you. Have a nice day. Hi everybody. So I've made a new store called animalquest.shop, and I made my first shirt, Barkland Reading, at the Amberstone's house, and I would ask that you go and buy those there. I'll make a few bucks each time you buy something from there, and I have men, women's, baby clothing, and buttons, as well as other accessories, including dog bandanas, which I think are pretty cool. And I'll be adding more merch every week or two for that store as the stories progress and the sequels are written and read. I'll do the same for Divergent Mind. The link again is animalquest.shop. The link for Divergent Mind will be divergentmind.shop as well. Thank you so much, Jay. Okay, so I just wanted to let you know that I have a YouTube channel called Taught Myself, and that I've decided to start selling merch already with a phrase that my brother showed me saying, "My disability is invisible," of which I made a hat for myself. So I decided to make hats, shirts, hoodies, for both men and women on Spreadshirt.com. All you have to do is search for "My disability is invisible." It's in green, and that's mine. You'll know it's me because when you click the sale icon, the same little Divergent Mind icon comes up, and I hope you'll support me. I make about $5 per shirt or per sale. Everything else goes to Spreadshirt, but that's okay because it's still a better deal than a lot of other places. And I really hope you'll support me. Come check me out on the YouTube. Teach me how to do that properly so I can have a community there too. And I await your response. Have a lovely day. Jay.
Hey people, take a listen to the Divergent Mind podcast. You get both insight into living with a serious mental illness and get to listen to a lovely tale about a journey cute little animals need to take. Don't miss out, and remember, divergent minds don't need to think alike.
Please go to ratethispodcast.com/divergentmind and tell me what you think. Thank you very much. Yours truly, Jay.